Hi guys, it's Claire Nakti. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be exploring a deeply romantic astrological placement.
Hey, I want to show you something.
Give me your hand.
Which has a very special connection to unlocking, freeing, honoring, and supporting the dynamic force of Shakti inside and outside of oneself. This nakshatra has the special ability to captivate and stir desire in goddess-like beings.
Do you trust me?
Will hurt me. You don't trust me, all right? Now go.
Do you trust me?
You trust me?
I trust you.
And to ultimately derive fruits and blessings from the most powerful, wish-granting, feminine forces of reality.
Open your eyes.
Don't you dare close your eyes. 100,000 things to see.
Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra.
Flying.
You trust me? Come on, open your eyes.
What do you think? Do you think a princess and a guy like me?
No.
Years ago, a BuzzFeed article went viral titled 19 Things That Prove Aladdin and Titanic Are the Same Movie, outlining the striking, sometimes uncanny similarities between the two films. Titanic's Jack Dawson is played by the Uttara Phalguni ascendant native Leonardo DiCaprio. When Disney cast the live-action Aladdin in 2019, they chose an Uttara Phalguni native, Mena Massoud, to embody the eponymous character. Their intuitive casting isn't new, however, as in the past Uttara Phalgunis also dominated Aladdin roles, or roles of similar characters associated with different Arabian Nights-inspired tales.
Well, I've read about genies, but I never thought they really... It's like something out of the Arabian Nights.
Like Robert Clary in 1952, Rock Hudson in 1953, Sal Mineo in 1958, Jeff Cooper in 1968, Siddharth Nagam in 2018, and Adam Hullock in 2019.
If I only had my lamp, I'd make them all disappear. Like that.
Aladdin, if you mention that lamp again, I'm going to take you by the seat of the pants and throw you over that wall.
During the writing process for Disney's iconic animated Aladdin, while creating his character, they took inspiration from Uttara Phalguni ascendant Harrison Ford. Aladdin was, I quote, rewritten to be a little rough like a young Harrison Ford. Following the story arc of these strikingly parallel films, Aladdin and Titanic, unlocks fascinating understandings of Uttara Phalguni's essence, and brought me along a path of dozens of other complementary works of art channeled through vessels of this nakshatra.
Riff raff, street rat. I don't buy that.
You horse with gutter rat!
I'd rather be his whore than your wife.
Ultimately, to complete the Uttara Phalguni equation, two important forces must come together: the Aladdin and the Jasmine, the Jack and the Rose. First, I will introduce you to these two archetypal figures and what they each cosmically represent, and then the formulaic result of their union can unfold. The Uttara Phalguni Aladdin character is introduced as a young man, vital and lively, cunning, good-hearted, but underprivileged and oftentimes orphaned.
My parents passed away a few years back.
It's a little sad having a monkey is the only parental authority in your life.
Cheryl, look, I'm not going into foster care, okay? I'm not gonna go be a part of your little system.
Such as John B. in Outer Banks, portrayed by the Uttara Phalguni sun native Chase Stokes, who is a kind of Prince of Thieves character called the leader of the Pogues, the lower-class community of Outer Banks, the counterpart to the rich Kooks.
The Outer Banks. It's the sort of place where you either have two jobs or two houses. All right, so this is figure 8, the rich side of the island. Home of the Kooks. And then this is the south side, or the cut. The natural habitat of, drumroll please, the Pogues. That's us. The throwaway fish, lowest member of the food chain.
First class dogs come down here to take a shite.
It lets us know where we rank in the scheme of things.
Film journalist Dustin Waters even wrote in his Outer Banks analysis,
I told you, you hang out with trash, you get dirty.
If you've been waiting for the white remake of Aladdin, this is it. Han Solo in Star Wars is strikingly similar, portrayed also by Harrison Ford. His backstory is that he was a young orphan street thief, later turned smuggler, and Uttara Phalguni Moon Aiden Ehrenreich portrayed him in these early days in Solo, a Star Wars story, and interestingly competed for the role against Uttara Phalguni Moon Jack Rayner. Other similar quote-unquote street rat characters whose arc mirrors Aladdin's, as I'll explore, include Tyler and Step Up.
Just remember that loser's headed nowhere fast and you know it.
Portrayed by Uttara Phalguni Moon Channing Tatum. Rashad in ATL, portrayed by Uttara Phalguni Sun T.I.
Welcome to my humble... You'll see.
Johnny Castle in Dirty Dancing, played by the Uttara Phalguni Ascendant native Patrick Swayze.
I guess it's not a great room, you probably got a great room.
No, it's a great room.
Daniel in The Karate Kid, played by Uttara Phalguni Moon Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, who's that blonde and blue?
Hills.
Hills, what's the hills?
It's rich.
And David in A Perfect Story, played by Uttara Phalguni's son Alvaro Mel.
Sigues compartiendo piso. Bueno, piso. Una mierda de sofá.
These characters feel trapped by their poverty.
This is all I can never really see myself doing. When you got responsibilities, you ain't got time to dream.
Who do you think you're calling a street rat?
You were born worthless, and you will die worthless. And only your fleas will mourn you.
Destined for a life crushed by these circumstances and are always in search of a way out.
The way I see it, the game's rigged. Maybe it always has been. And with no parents, no money, and no one looking out for me, I got no chance. I had nothing to lose.
When you got nothing to lose.
I know all about having nothing. It sucks.
Including doing things like engaging in reckless hunts for treasure,
Oh my God!
petty crime,
¿Me puede apuntar esto a la habitación 619, porfa? Sí, gracias. Las llevo para allá.
Ahora voy.
Perdone, este hotel tiene 5 plantas.
Yo lo sé.
Y esa habitación no existe.
gambling, and so on.
Tell Jabba that I've got his money.
The character's disadvantaged, harsh situation often leads him to these Prince of Thieves' criminal behaviors such as stealing.
I steal only what I can't afford. And that's everything.
But an underlying nobility unquestionably imbues his actions.
Very noble.
Shut up, man, a cop!
That was reported stolen today.
I just borrowed it. I was gonna return it.
Oh, an honest thief. We have an honest thief here, do we?
Despite having little to nothing and always just scraping by,
There's always a way to make do. If you don't have much, you don't need much.
The more you have, the more you want.
That's not me.
he's ultimately detached, radiant, and oriented towards goodness.
Got everything I need right here with me. Got air in my lungs and a few blank sheets of paper. I mean, I love waking up in the morning not knowing what's gonna happen or who I'm gonna meet.
I have a different kind of house where there are no walls, just mountains and trees and oceans and...
Don't you ever get cold or hungry?
Sometimes.
Just the other night I was sleeping under a bridge and now here I am on the grandest ship in the world.
Like the sattvic nature of the sun, Uttara Phalguni's Nakshatra lord and partial Rashi lord, as well as planet associated with this Nakshatra's presiding deities, Aryaman and Bhaga. The sun generates energy from within and radiates to all. For a deeper archetypal understanding of how the sun's planetary energies specifically animate its natives, and more on the rogue or renegade quality to this planet, you can check out my Sun Dominant Men video to see this through the common ground shared by the 3 sun roll nakshatras.
You cannot just break into a palace and walk around like you own the place.
If you don't have anything, you have to act like you own everything.
Now to shift focus onto his partner, the Jasmine or Rose archetype. Across these Aladdin-like characters, there's shocking similarity in regards to the situation in which his romantic interest finds herself, although her astrological placements across these works don't have a strongly consistent pattern. The key focus here is that the Uttara Phalguni man, lacking material support, is situated with a love interest who suffers from the opposite. She suffers from what is often called a gilded or golden cage, a cage of wealth and privilege that limits her freedom.
You just seem like, kind of an indoor girl.
You should tell the princess to get out more. The people haven't seen her in years.
They won't let her.
She's an heiress or princess, adorned with status but yearning for authenticity, simplicity, and adventure.
Why can't I be like you, Jack? Just head out for the horizon whenever I feel like it.
Due to how her gilded world isolates her.
Never been on the outside looking in your whole life, have you?
I'll take something I can't have. Life of my own.
She reaches a snapping point, often involving people around her trying to control her behavior about major life decisions.
I wish to go. But my mother will not allow it.
Like who to marry or where to go to school.
Why can't I pick my own friends and choose things in my life for myself?
Do I have no say in my own life?
You have a duty to your king.
And then the constrained princess leaves her golden cage in different ways. For Rose, who's engaged to a wealthy suitor she doesn't truly love and enmeshed in a shallow social circle she despises, she contemplates suicide to escape. For Rashad's love interest, Nunu, she dresses and acts to fit in with those in the lower class part of her city.
You really want to be ghetto?
Despite being from an immensely rich family.
You got a Picasso in your house.
And hides her true identity from her friends and especially Rashad.
What y'all doing?
And we ain't doing nothing. We chilling. What y'all up to?
Nothing, walking around here looking cute. All right.
In a perfect story, the heiress to a hotel empire hides her wealth from the Uttara Phalguni native for weeks as their love develops, doing whatever she can to seem more grounded and normal.
¿Es primera clase?
Puede ser. No lo sé, puede ser. Igual ha habido algún lío con... de overbooking o...
Sarah Cameron, the so-called Princess of the Kooks, the rich counterpart to the Pogues.
That's Sarah Cameron, Kook Princess.
Takes the role in Outer Banks.
I am 16, and I already know what the rest of my life is gonna look like.
I saw my whole life as if I'd already lived it. An endless parade of parties and cotillions, yachts and polo matches.
It's gonna be stupid yacht clubs filled with hollow people making useless small talk.
Always the same narrow people, the same mindless chatter.
And I feel like if I don't get out of the bubble wrap now, I never will.
And in Dirty Dancing, the main character, Baby, comes with her rich family to a vacation resort. She finds herself drawn more and more to sneaking away to spend nights with the working class employees there, despite her family's disapproval.
I know what you must be thinking. Poor little rich girl. What does she know about misery?
No, it's not what I was thinking. What I was thinking was, what could have happened to this girl to make her think she had no way out?
So the chemistry between these two inverse forces, one impoverished but free, the other rich but caged, is magnetic. Both express the limitations of their circumstances in opposite but shared ways, and it bonds them.
I kind of like some of that bubble wrap.
Be careful what you wish for.
Este es mi número. Por si algún día te apetece escribirme y contarme.
¿Contarte el qué?
Porque compartimos mirada triste.
Sometimes I feel like I'm
Trapped. Like you can't escape what you were born into?
Yes.
An Uttara Phalguni commoner becomes romantically involved with princesses as well.
Would you wish to marry a commoner?
I would wish for a man to take what is his.
In films I'll explore more in part 2 due to their broader scope.
I want to know that there's more to this life, and I can't know that if they kill you.
Tristan and Isolde versions in both 1981 and 2006.
She's confusing Tristan with the king. She is impressed with Tristan. He's handsome, a hero. Isolde's head will not desert her.
Where an Irish princess falls in love with an enemy warrior.
My name is Branya. I'm a lady in waiting at the court.
The Golden Blade, Braveheart.
Why do you help me?
Because of the way you're looking at me now.
And Han Solo's love with Princess Leia in Star Wars.
Like me because I'm a scoundrel. There aren't enough scoundrels in your life.
In the meantime, in another important part of the overall story, the villain Jafar seeks entry into a magical cave, the Cave of Wonders. Yet the cave rejects any who attempt to enter, reciting,
Only one may enter here. One whose worth lies far within. The diamond in the rough.
a suggestion that only a person with deep goodness, inner value, who doesn't take more than they need, can access the treasure inside. Seeing the goodness of the lowly street rat Aladdin, Jafar tricks him into entering the cave, and indeed he's proven to be a diamond in the rough, with a shining interior despite his external circumstances. It's he who's then, due to his goodness, able to access a magical lamp with a genie who grants him 3 wishes.
You are the master, I the slave.
Laissez tranquille. Bien, je suis votre serviteur, ordonnez, j'obéirai. Docteur Genie. Jimmy Genie.
Un génie? Un génie?
You my master.
I'm your master?
The Wilhelm translation of Taittiriya Brahmana directly cites the attainment of wishes in terms of Uttara Phalguni's power.
Je veux des œufs de caille, et du caviar, et des cornes de gazelle sur un plateau d'argent, et du nectar de fruits de la passion dans des verres en cristal.
I quote, "The reddish at the concluding of the dispenser is strong flow from above and flowing wishes from below."
You look like you should be my master.
Right, but that's not quite how it works, though.
When you follow Genie's pattern through Uttara Phalguni works, it becomes clear that Genie is actually a parallel character to Jasmine. Aladdin's behavior with Genie reflects and foreshadows his behavior with Jasmine. Genie is also a constrained being of abundance in a quote-unquote golden cage.
How long have you been trapped in here?
1,000 years.
1,000 years.
400 years ago, I was imprisoned in that bottle by another one of your kind. But now, thanks to you, I'm free again.
Who upon accessing has the immense potential for bringing unmatched fortune into Aladdin's life. Other Aladdin-like characters encounter a female genie instead, which innately hits even more at the essence of what is happening here.
I've decided to bring you all the treasures of the world. We are going to start with the buried gold of the Incas.
No.
The rubies of the Rajas.
No.
Well, where would you like to start?
I'd like to start with getting rid of all of this.
In a sense, combining the Jasmine and Genie archetypes in a potent way. This is perhaps best displayed in the iconic show I Dream of Genie, in which Tony, portrayed by Uttara Phalguni's son Larry Hagman, also finds a magic lamp from which arises a beautiful female genie.
Thou may ask anything of thy slave, master.
That's very kind of you. I actually don't need anything at the moment.
In the cartoon version of this story, again the Tony character was portrayed by an Uttara Phalguni native, Mark Hamill, in his first acting role.
Oh, master, I am so sorry. It is all my fault. Would you like to punish me?
No, that's okay, Genie.
In 1001 Nights, Uttara Phalguni Moon Jeff Cooper portrays an Aladdin-like character blessed with the same situation as well.
You came out of that bottle?
Out of that very bottle.
Woman, I don't believe you.
Fortunately, I'm not a woman. I'm a genie. And now, I'm your slave forever.
His worthiness to enter a cave of abundance and yet be untempted to take anything more than what he needs shows his orientation out of self-serving, greedy behaviors, which would exploit a princess or abundant feminine being.
Out came Genie.
Unlike the rich, dominating, suitor, villainous characters across these films,
You will honor me. You will honor me the way a wife is required to honor her husband.
I think we've heard enough from you, princess. It's time you start doing what you should have done all along. Stay silent.
who want to marry the girl in the golden cage as a further tool for their own selfish power attainment, just as he wants to use the genie for the same self-serving reasons. Jafar is then another literary bridge between Jasmine and the genie, and the inverse character to Aladdin. Parallel to Jasmine, Genie expresses his sadness at being enslaved. The question arises then, when given something caged but abundant, how does he treat it?
Only way a genie gets to be free is if the owner of the lamp uses one of his wishes to set him free. And the last time that happened was like the 4th of Neverary.
I'll do it.
Immediately, Aladdin displays opposing traits to Jafar. He even promises to use his last wish to free Genie. Like the goodness of Aladdin, upon finding the lamp, Tony opts to free Genie immediately, after using one wish simply to save himself from being stranded on an island.
I'm setting you free.
Oh, thou hast set me free, master. Now I belong to thee.
No, you don't understand. I rescued you and you rescued me. We're even.
In freeing her, he wins her genuine love and obsession instead, and she willingly chooses to stay and serve him as a wish-fulfilling consort.
I must say it was kind of fun thinking I had $3 million in the bank. That's all right. I'm perfectly happy to do things.
Merging these archetypes in both 1001 Nights and I Dream of Genie, despite often dating other women along the way, the Uttara Phalguni chooses ultimately to marry the genie herself.
Master. I mean husband.
You don't love her?
I love only you.
There's a gender-flipped example in 3,000 Years of Longing, in which an Uttara Phalguni moon woman finds a genie in a bottle, and the genie falls in love with her so deeply he tries everything he can to stop her from making her third wish, which would ultimately free him.
I loved her.
More than your own freedom?
Yes. I loved the fervor of her mind, I loved her anger, I loved my power to turn her frowns into smiles. The thought of being set free sickened my heart.
If I ever wanted a genie in the whole wide world, you'd be the genie I'd want.
Oh, thank you,
But I don't
master.
want a genie.
Oh, not even a genie who will not give you one little bit of trouble, whose every thought is to make you very happy and comfortable.
On Patreon, I'm going to be posting an exclusive video diving deeper into Uttara Phalguni's connection, not just to accessing genies, but also to embodying them. In Three Wishes, Uttara Phalguni Ascendant Patrick Swayze plays a drifter, Jack, who encounters a struggling widowed woman and her son. Despite him being poor, the woman takes a liking to Jack and takes him in, as well as his dog. As he helps their lives and she falls in love with him, eventually it's revealed that his dog is a genie accompanying him. The backstory he explains perfectly mirrors all of these ideas of his own past, where he displayed selflessness when offered wishes, and therefore in return he gained the eternal love of the genie.
Did the man get a wish too?
Well, he got his wish a long time ago, but there was nothing he wanted.
Did the genie help him pick?
Well, I guess you could say she did. You see, the man gave his wish back to the genie, and she made a wish for him instead.
What was it?
The genie wished that the man would travel around with her so she wouldn't have to be lonely.
In Beautiful Creatures, similarly, a wealthy, mysterious girl who feels overly constrained moves to a small town where she's drawn to a lower-class boy played by Uttara Phalguni Moon, Aiden Reinreich.
Look, can you insult me in the car? It's getting a little Titanic out here. You know, I never understood why Leo had to die in the end. Like, why couldn't they take turns? You float on the wooden thing in 10 minutes, I'll float on the wooden thing in 10 minutes.
It's revealed that the young woman is extremely powerful through magic.
What do you wish for every year that you never get?
Snow.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you know, I always wanted one of those white movie Christmases.
That's what you really want?
Much similar to Genie, she also expresses too as granting certain wishes for him or divinely protecting him with her magic.
It get pretty cold up in Wisconsin where I was.
Oh, do you enjoy the cold weather?
Yeah. I must say some of the happiest days of my life were spent in the snow and the cold in Wisconsin.
Like that, Master?
Hey, that's wonderful, Genie.
Uttara Phalguni Moon Channing Tatum also plays a servant who wins the love of an intergalactic, supremely powerful queen who has ownership over the entire Earth in Jupiter Ascending.
You think you'll ever tell them?
What, that I own the Earth? Still trying to understand exactly what it means to myself.
I said I was all-powerful, the most powerful being in the universe.
Now this leads me to the third variation on the Uttara Phalguni's powerful consort, the superhero. It is Uttara Phalguni Ascendant Chris Pine who plays a mortal man who is saved by and then forms a romantic connection with the demigoddess superhero Wonder Woman.
You can do anything. You can fly. You can move mountains. I believe that. You're my superhero.
It's Mike in Stranger Things, played by Uttara Phalguni Ascendant Finn Wolfhard, who finds and then wins the love of Elle, a girl with superhuman powers.
I love you on your bad days. I love you with your powers. I love you without your powers. I love you for exactly who you are.
Throughout the series, he proves his worthiness to be her partner.
We never would have upset you if we knew you had superpowers.
Beyond those around him, he demonstrates patience, care, and is her constant advocate and protector in his own way.
Seriously, Mike?
I'm just trying to demonstrate how careless Max is with Eleven's powers. In fact, how careless all of you are. You're treating her like some kind of machine when she's not a machine.
In My Super Ex-Girlfriend, Uttara Phalguni's son Luke Wilson saves a woman from being stolen from and begins dating her, only to later find out that she's been hiding that she's the city's mysterious superhero, G-Girl.
I have to help people every day, and nobody's ever helped me except you. You're my hero.
I give everything I have every day, and I'm happy to. But this one thing, you're all that I've wanted. You're the only joy I've had or even asked for.
Similar to Genie, she is both protective and wish-fulfilling for him.
Taxi! Oh, hey, it's stopping. Here we go.
Oh, you okay?
So the golden cage motif isn't just about class or wealth. It ultimately represents potential energy that is constrained until it finds the right person to release it. These women, whether they are genies, superheroes, or princesses, are repositories of power that require the right and worthy conduit to express it fully.
Look, I'm not saying that my girlfriend is better than yours. She said Susie's like a certified genius. You do realize Elle saved the world twice, right?
Uttara Phalguni's energy isn't about coveting wealth or magic, but being recognized by forces of power and abundance, of wealth or magic, as its rightful steward. This suggests a key karmic role conveyed by Uttara Phalguni as well about dharmic versus adharmic masculinity. One does not forcefully take power, one becomes worthy of it, and then it is bestowed. So the consistency of an Uttara Phalguni man with a uniquely auspicious, entrapped princess when he's a commoner.
Hey, your worship, I'm only trying to help.
Would you please stop calling me that?
Sure, Leia. Your Majesty.
Please don't call me that.
Or Genie, superhero or magical woman when he's a mortal man.
Sir Patrick Morgan at your service.
Diana, Princess of Plymouth.
Prince, Diana Prince.
Is actually a symbol for Uttara Phalguni's special connection to deriving blessings, benefits, and fruits from the feminine forces of reality.
The rest of the jewelry's in the top drawer.
It's yours, Joe. I gave it to you. These are nothing. You can have anything you want. What is it you want? Money.
Norma, you'd be throwing it away.
And how this comes through in Shakti practices, the worshipping and veneration of the Shakti goddess force. In the Ariel Kashyap translation of Tati Raya Brahmana, he translates Uttara Phalguni's power as being, I quote, associated with the bride who carries wealth to the husband's house and then gives the family all the children, while princesses and wealthy women with poor, vital, inwardly noble men depict this exchange on the material plane.
What about some glasses? Oh, Clark Kent action?
Sir, I don't think you understand. I don't want anything from
John
you.
B?
On the spiritual plane, Western culture perhaps often portrays such a force more commonly as a genie or superhero due to the vacuum of goddess worship left here by Abrahamic influences. Largely, the stylization and power of feminine genies are the best representation in modern culture for the concept of the goddess. The themes of entering a cave full of treasure or other versions of these men searching for a desired rare item in general is a third allusion to Jasmine.
LaRoche loved orchids, but I came to believe he loved the difficulty and fatality of getting them almost as much as he loved the orchids themselves.
Oh, Roger and I are going hunting for sunken treasure.
I can give you all the treasures you desire.
No, if you don't mind, I'd rather find it myself.
If I live to be another 2,000 years old, I will not understand you.
Well, it's not the treasure I'm interested in, Genie. It's the hunt.
Bagha, a god associated with this nakshatra, which I'll explore more in part 2, is also a word referring to the Yoni or womb, and this ties to how Bagha is the great distributor who gives out the portions of the gods, and the Yoni conveys blessings. From the Aladdin-like character having the purity to enter the cave, metaphorically this depicts his access to the Yoni and its bounty. Therefore, the dowry is conveyed to him, which can include things like land, kingdom, wealth, gems, and any gift of the earth. Symbolically, the man who wins the woman also wins the power she carries. Again and again, he captures the attention of princesses, heiresses, and supernatural women, not because he pursues them due to coveting what they have, but because they recognize him. They sense something in him that is rare, a good heart that doesn't waver in the face of wealth, temptation, or power.
I wish to set you free.
And in turn, these women, these living embodiments of fortune and magic, then attempt to bestow upon him outward nobility to reflect and match his inner nobility.
Sí, tienes un problema porque quieres tener algo conmigo, pero claro, también quieres que cuando lleguemos a Madrid te vaya a recoger el puto príncipe italiano en una puta carroza. Eso es lo que te pasa.
That's it? You're just gonna walk away like this never happened?
David, tú no tienes ni idea, pero ni idea de lo que yo quiero, ¿vale? Ni te atrevas, no tienes ni idea.
Vale, Margot, pues estaría bien que por una vez me dijeras que...
Look, I can't pretend like this isn't real. Like, this didn't happen. I'm sorry, shut up.
I quote, Jasmine is not interested in marrying someone who is capable of only offering her everything she already owns, opting for excitement and companionship instead. In her wealthy but static state, she craves the male vitality, detachment, and freedom embodied by the Uttara Phalguni native, who can break her free from the bind she hates and orient her into her own power and autonomy, activity, and transformation, contrasting the stifled and more shallow life that she knows. The Great Gatsby follows such a plotline in a more tragic direction and stars Uttara Phalguni ascendant Leonardo DiCaprio. In the story, a penniless young man falls for a woman from a wealthy family.
His uniform hid the truth.
So many dashing young officers here, and from such illustrious families.
That he was a penniless young man.
And ultimately attempts to rise upward in success.
It was all for her. The house, the parties, everything.
In hopes of marrying her, proving himself worthy in her world.
Jewels! We have them!
And pulling her away from her dominating, controlling, old money-rich husband.
Life is something you dominate, Nick.
If you're any good.
The story is partially based on the true experience of the writer Uttara Phalguni's son F. Scott Fitzgerald, who fell for a wealthy heiress, Ginevra. I quote, "Although Ginevra loved him, her upper-class family belittled Fitzgerald's courtship."
She was toying with you. It amuses her to meet commoners.
Tell us of the accommodations in steerage, Mr. Dawson.
The best I've seen, ma'am. Hardly any rats.
Because of his lower-class status compared to her other wealthy suitors.
God, look at that thing. You would have gone straight to the bottom.
The only respectable thing about you, old sport, is your money. I have just as much as you. That means we're equal.
Oh, no. We're different. I am, she is. We're all different from you. You see, we were born different. There's nothing that you do, say or steal or dream up.
Her imperious father purportedly told a young Fitzgerald that poor boys shouldn't think of marrying rich girls, and that sentiment is echoed almost word for word the moment when Gatsby makes his first appearance on screen.
Rich girls don't marry poor boys. She's mine.
Your face is familiar.
An interesting note is that the full moon in Uttara Phalguni, Panguni Uttaram, commemorates the wedding of Shiva and his Shakti. An associated myth goes that Sati, who adored Shiva, was the favorite child of Daksha, a powerful king. Although Sati loved Shiva, Daksha considered Shiva an ascetic.
I've got $10 in my pocket. I have nothing to offer you, and I know that.
Pero es que yo no puedo tener una relación contigo. No tengo planes, no tengo vida, no tengo nada que ofrecer.
You wanna get married?
No.
How come?
You don't have any prospects.
Indifferent to societal norms and etiquettes, and unworthy of his prestigious lineage.
Dad, how did you...
Let's go. Aaron, get up now.
Be careful, these pogues are all these lowlifes.
Have a date? With whom?
Dad, it's a friend.
Not that boy from Reseda.
Yeah, he's from Reseda.
That boy is a danger to you. Don't invite him here again.
And therefore he disapproved of and deeply resented him.
I don't see you running up to Daddy telling him I'm your guy.
Well, with my father, it's complicated. I will tell him.
I don't believe you, baby.
Despite her father's wishes, legends describe that Sati married him. I quote, "Later when Daksha organizes a fire sacrifice in which he, due to his disapproval, doesn't invite her and her husband."
Jay! They're a rotten crowd. They're worth the whole damn bunch put together.
Sati goes to attend it only to be humiliated by her father. She then immolates herself to protest against him and uphold the honor of her husband.
Oh, shut
Chill, girl.
Some texts suggest that before Sati's death, she promised that she would be reborn to a father who merits her respect and will remarry Shiva.
If things were different, if we lived in a place without duty, would you be with me?
That place does not exist.
After her self-immolation, she is indeed reborn as Parvati and marries Shiva under this nakshatra. In addition to translations like energy or power, Shakti also means capacity, in that it is the power and motivation to do anything. Shakti is the necessary energy in action, while Shiva is the consciousness who embodies the awareness and direction. The Shiva-like quality of this nakshatra is shown in how they are depicted as radiant drifters, which symbolizes this nature of detached, free consciousness.
When I told you I was drifting, did you understand?
Not why it made you sad. I too am drifting, Signora. Everybody, the stars, everything is drifting. Is it so bad to drift?
Philosophically, both Sati and Parvati successively play the role of bringing Shiva away from ascetic isolation.
Darling, surely you remember Mr. Dawson?
It's amazing. You could almost pass for a gentleman.
Almost.
And into creative participation with the world. Therefore here, the masculine principle, pure consciousness, divine direction that acts for the greater good, is united with Shakti, the power or capacity to enact change. The Phalguni Nakshatras are a recreational resting point relating to sensual union and romance. From my art ebook exploring the prominence of the Phalguni Nakshatras in dance and the performing arts.
You could dance, dancing?
American dancing.
Oh yeah, dancing. I'm good. Why?
In paraphrasing Emma von Franz, reverence towards and care for the inner woman is important for men in regards to their ability to create art, their ability to please women, and their capacity to experience true pleasure. What role does the anima as the guide to the inner world mean in practical terms? This positive function occurs when a man takes seriously the feelings, moods, expectations, and fantasies sent by his anima, and when he fixes them in some form, for example, in writing, painting, or dancing. The more a man recognizes his anima, the more appropriately masculine he's able to be.
If men are from Mars, and women are from Venus, and you speak Venusian, the world can be yours.
Having integrated and properly processed all the feminine parts of his psyche, rather than repressing, ignoring, or being thrown around by those aspects of himself. Shava means corpse. E is the letter of Maya. When you insert the letter of Maya into the word Shava, you get Shiva. That's why these men are dancing or performing in this symbolic sense. She is the inner force making you move, Shakti. She's animating them with artistic excitement because they are in touch with her. So there is a saying that Shiva is Shava, corpse, without Shakti. But having access to her, there's burning passion and energy. The immense amount of dancing scenes or major plot lines across these films of the man impressing and entertaining the woman with his dancing symbolizes his ability to be like Shiva, an ascetic who then allows himself to be animated by Shakti, through being able to unite with the feminine Shakti force in profound, creative, blissful union, rather than constraining, exploiting, or misusing it. Interestingly, the great warrior Arjuna was said to have been born in Uttara Phalguni moon, and in one part of his myth he spends a year teaching dance to the princess Uttara, after which he is offered her hand in marriage, although he refuses. So the character's dancing and dance teaching demonstrates this to her first, and later is brought to a peak in the freeing scenes I opened this video with.
You trust me? Hold tight.
Which are the pinnacle, romantically climactic scenes of these works.
Want to take a ride? My avion?
Do you trust me?
The Uttara Phalguni man holds his hand to the dormant and stifled powerful Shakti force and asks for her to trust.
Yes.
Do you trust me?
I trust you.
And then holds her while she is released and able to dissolve into true, uninhibited freedom of expression and exploration. Over and over, he teaches her to dance sensually and frees her from her inner and outer constraints or inhibitions in doing so.
Josephine, my flying machine going up, she goes, up she goes.
His auspicious partner pulls him into material interaction, blesses him with the abundance of Maya due to his detachment and goodness, and he supports and encourages her with his energetic grounding, stability, and acceptance as she becomes freer, more active, and more liberated. Just as with virility, he hosts and cherishes Shakti inside him then, letting it move and carry him through reality in a detached, free, and expressive way, he proves he can also support the unfolding and expressing of Shakti outside of him in his partner.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Which earns her love and devotion. Quoting Julius Evola's explanation of this process, just as in Samkhya, a non-acting, originating function is attributed to the male, to Shiva, he determines motion and awakens Shakti.
It will be replaced by a brilliant new choreographer that I recently discovered in Miami. His artistry made me feel, there are no words, it's just ecstasy. I want every woman that walks into this theater to feel the same kind of ecstasy that I did, to transcend, to break free.
They've got you trapped, Rose. And you're gonna die if you don't break free. Maybe not right away because you're strong, but sooner or later, that fire that I love about you, Rose, that fire is gonna burn out.
Only the latter, however, truly acts, moves, and generates. This is shown by the symbolism of a sexual union in which the female Shakti, made of flames, undertakes the active part and moves, embracing the divine male, made of light and bearer of the scepter, who instead stays still. Shiva does not act in the proper meaning of the word, but only arouses motion in Prakriti, in nature or Shakti, which is the woman, so that she moves and develops the dynamism of creation.
You've really expanded your range.
Actually, a lot of this is Tyler.
Nah, that's all you.
Evilness within these Uttara Phalguni works is therefore displayed as a man coveting worldly influence.
We've got to beat them down.
and entrapping and stifling a woman, Shakti or power, so he can obtain it.
It's better for you to be seen and not heard.
You will never behave like that again, Rose. Do you understand?
I'm not a foreman in one of your mills that you can command.
Goodness is displayed as a self-contained man who is detached from excessive worldly power.
Why are you playing hard to wish?
Who has the self-fulfillment to simply support and experience the Shakti flame as she is freed and stimulated into action in his outer world.
Enjoying life outside the bubble wrap.
I love it. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Oh, that's really good to hear.
Oh, rubbish.
Just as he does in his inner world, like Jack reinvigorates Rose with a powerful will to live and to celebrate life. Ironically, it's the latter character who's blessed with material fulfillment, with wealth and influence when he stimulates and satisfies Maya and earns her trust and allegiance.
She's taking all the fire, let's go!
In Evola's words, according to an initiatic axiom,
I wish to become the most powerful being in the universe. More powerful than you!
You must not seek power, it is power that must seek you. Power is feminine and seeks a center. He who knows how to give a center to this power through his own renunciation and hardness, created by domination of his soul, power is unfailingly attracted to such a person and gravitates towards him as her own male. Just as water naturally forms a vortex around a pillar standing steadfast in its current, likewise, in a spontaneous way, an aura forms around him who, like a force that presses on and does not stop at anything, appropriates the way of being. Being is the condition of power, and impassibility that does not look at it is what attracts it. Power eludes desire for power, like a woman shunning the lustful embrace of an impotent lover. The Phalgunis both are associated strongly with the male vitality that stirs feminine pleasure, such as this Nakshatra's connection to Shiva's bull, Nandi. Both Phalgunis have some form of sun rulership as well, and according to Mantraswara, the sun is the significator of any work relating to Shiva and also governs any temples for Shiva. Purva Phalguni is the fruit tree as it is growing and developing. Uttara Phalguni is the completed fruits ready to be consumed.
Did you just yeet over that chain? Oh my god.
The time for accessing the powerful feminine in a state that nourishes one's life. So in mystical traditions, she, Prakriti, is the horizontal axis representing earthliness and nature and the material world, while he, Purusha, is the vertical axis, which alludes to the idea of both virility and stability. As the embodiment of nature, she rewards him for fully inhabiting his Purusha role by now striving to establish, elevate, and expand his presence in the material plane.
Just pretend that today is Christmas and you're about to open the presents.
Her selective bestowal is emphasized in the Devi Sukta as she recites, I am the queen, the gatherer up of treasures. I make the man I love exceedingly mighty.
Cecilia,
I love you.
I love you.
Make him nourished, a sage, and one who knows the universal truth. I bend the bow for Shiva that his arrow may strike. In return for his role as her liberator, she now bestows gifts upon him.
Upon him who saved us, I bestow the title Erashi, he who follows the righteous cause.
Providing for him in ways that reflect both her gratitude and her desire to secure his place beside her. Having broken the chains that bound her or attempting to do so, he activates the sacred exchange. She, in turn, willingly chooses him, pours abundance upon him, ensuring that the one who brings liberation is himself sustained and uplifted. It's also interesting in this regard how these films don't repeat specific signs of the female partners. The essence of Uttara Phalguni energy lies in his role as being a liberator for women, Shakti, power in general in her many beautiful expressions, not in their consorts thematically conforming to one astrological archetype. Just as Uttara Phalguni men can be argued to appeal to the widest range of women in terms of raw magnetism, such as how this came up as the #1 factor in my survey of male sex symbols, indicating statistically the power of this nakshatra to spark longing and sexual response from the feminine half of reality. In scenes across these films, it comes to the point where the feminine power literally forces blessings on the Uttara Phalguni man.
Last month, I'm eating juju bees to keep alive. This month, women are stuffing diamonds in my pockets.
Well, the others, the Senora Kogan, the Baronessa, they were, at me like wolves from the very moment.
Liar!
Everyone knows you never gave in to any of them. Not even to Signora Jameson Walker when she presented you with a pair of magnificent ruby cufflinks.
In endless scenarios where through desire she does things like take him as a kind of kept man.
You can make me late, but you can't keep me here. This is not a jail, you know?
Sarah, can you give me the new inmate? Quick minute here.
Please be nice.
I'll be nice. You've purchased me for a month. Let's just say you say jump, I say which bed.
Of course, you may be too young to even suspect there are men of his sort.
I was her plaything.
You come from the streets, and suddenly you're up here, and these women are throwing themselves at you, and they smell so good, and they really take care of themselves. I mean, I never knew women could be like that, you know? And they're so rich, so goddamn rich, you think they must know about everything. They're slipping their room keys in my hands 2 and 3 times a day, different women.
This is our last night together, lover. I've got something worked out for us.
A position indicating one who is chosen from pure desire and not for status or social pressures, and does things like buy him objects and take him places.
I've been thinking we ought to go to that tailor you told me about and have you measured for some new clothes.
It's not important.
Wouldn't you like to?
You don't have to buy me clothes.
I know, but I want to.
That's a dreadful shirt you're wearing.
What's wrong with it?
Nothing if you work in the filling station, and I'm getting rather bored with that sport jacket and the same baggy pants. Max, what's a good men's shop in town, the very best?
Let's go shopping here.
Absolutely not.
Well, go there.
I don't need any clothes, and I certainly don't want you buying them for me.
Why begrudge me a little fun? I just want you to look nice.
As a matter of fact, Victor, I think we should stop at Liberty's first.
Despite his protests and expressions of discomfort.
Wait, this does not cost that. What is this in dollars? Do you drop a zero or? So cute.
Cashmere.
God, have you seen this shirt?
Yeah.
It's $190.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll sugar mommy you.
¿Y si me está pagando el viaje rollo Toy Boy?
I don't need a tuxedo.
Of course you do a tuxedo and tails, and if you aren't careful, you'll get a cutaway.
Maybe a pink button down, some bucks.
Bucks? What's a buck?
Shh. Just accept your fate.
In Magic Mike's Last Dance, Mike is played by Uttara Phalguni Moon Channing Tatum and is fixated on by a wealthy, older divorcee. Despite his persistent attempts at refusal, she forces gifts and blessings through things like adorning him in better clothing.
Can I help the gentleman?
Yes, you may. Jonathan.
John.
Michael Jeffrey Lade.
Yeah, that's not my name.
But it's got gravitas.
Yeah, it's Mike.
My friend Jonathan here needs all the help he can get.
So, where's the big teardown?
Bueno, igual que te peines, que uses camisa de vez en cuando.
And must you chew gum?
Y dejar de decir tronca.
Educating him when he is often depicted as formally uneducated.
There are no books in Johnny's room. Huh?
Wait, I know you. You went to State, right?
State? No, definitely not.
College has never really been on my radar.
And exposing him to things like fancy foods he's never experienced on his own.
What are you doing?
I don't really fuck with vegetables.
How do you take a caviar soup? No caviar for me, thanks. Never did like it much.
Just as she taught me some fancy tango steps, and what wine to drink with what fish.
I'm not used to wearing such expensive clothes.
Essentially, all the episodes of the many seasons of I Dream of Genie play with this idea.
And the genie bowed low and said to Aladdin, "My wish is your command."
Yeah, that's wonderful, you see. I should have bought that book for you about a year ago.
Genie causes chaos in Tony's life through her constant interference.
That's a cute outfit. Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Her daily attempts to bestow blessings upon him.
The diamonds of the...
No!
To help him in absolutely any way possible.
There we are. Eat it all up. It will make you stronger.
No, Jenny, you must stop this.
Often without his consent, as he repeatedly refuses to use her or depend on her. Yet, as much as Uttara Phalguni men are often blessed, they're also tested. Feminine power, once accessed and stirred or unleashed, doesn't always remain a gentle bestowal. It can become insistent, possessive, even overwhelming. Some men find themselves unable to fully wield or contain the forces they awaken, as I'll explore now. Even Genie also uses her power over him at times in more meddling, jealous, and possessive ways.
We're going to dinner tonight, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Tonight, tomorrow night, and the next. No.
Such as to keep him from dating any women.
Genie, let me out of here.
In Sunset Boulevard, a wealthy but faded film star ensnares a struggling screenwriter played by Uttara Phalguni ascendant William Holden.
I'll fill the pool for you. I'll open my house in Malibu. You can have the whole ocean. I'll buy you a boat and we'll sail to Hawaii.
Stop it. You're not going to buy me anything more.
Shut up. I'm rich. I've got $1 million.
Keep it.
What's it for but to buy us anything we want?
Cut out that us business.
Luring him into a life of luxury in exchange for his companionship and creative services, effectively making him a kept man in her isolated mansion.
Unpack Mr. Gillis's things.
It is done, madame. Well, pack him up again. I didn't say I was staying.
Suppose you make up your mind. Do you want this job or don't you?
There's a room above the garage. You can stay there if you like while you work. Room and board. And anything else you think is fair. I'd like you to stay, James. I'd enjoy the company.
I've offered to be your legal guardian. What? It'd mean a roof over your head, no more running from the DCS.
This is your room?
Whoa.
Like Genie, he's often thrown around by her material power over him when she goes into jealous fits.
What you're trying to say is you don't want me to love you. Say it. Say it.
From the passion that he stirs in her.
And I yelled at you because I care about you. That's what normal people do who love each other when one of them is acting like a brat. Now, would you please stop raining on me?
Much like the volatility that powerful goddess forces are often depicted as having in myth. My super ex-girlfriend follows this potentially more negative or dangerous aspect to Uttara Phalguni of captivating a passionate and powerful woman as well.
You're jealous, you're manipulative, I can't take it anymore. It's crazy.
Don't call me crazy!
See, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I can't handle that on a daily basis.
How am I gonna survive a lifetime of you surprising me?
When he breaks up with her due to his desire for another woman, her powers become dangerous to him as she uses them violently during fits of possessive jealousy.
Your girlfriend used Ella's powers to spy on us.
No, I did not make her. It was her idea.
I know I get a little crazy sometimes. I love you so much.
Eventually, the girl he truly does love, however, ends up with powers too.
Hey! Let go of my boyfriend, you crazy bitch! Bring it.
So two magical women fervently fight over him.
Genie's locked up in a safe at NASA, and they're going to send her to the moon, and you've got to help me get her out.
Well, of course, darling. 20 or 30 years after I've gotten tired of you.
And She-Devil, a rich and beautiful writer, falls for a married middle-class Uttara Phalguni son accountant, and possessively lures him away from his wife and kids.
I'm sharing you with her.
I don't think I can stand this much longer.
I want all of you.
Turning him into a kind of kept man in her pink mansion.
Andy!
The possessive jealousy between the two women leads to his downfall, as it does in another way in Atonement. James McAvoy, with Uttara Phalguni ascendant, plays the servant to an upper-class family. He catches the interest of both wealthy sisters in different ways. The older sister falls into mutual, passionate love with him, and the younger sister, crushing on him, struggles with adolescent confusion and jealousy as she observes this, and misdirects her feelings by spreading a lie that ruins his and her sister's life. So these films show a potential dark side or danger in stirring feminine desire and passion, especially in women with high levels of power in different ways. And the ending shot of The Great Gatsby, the version directed by Uttara Phalguni's son Baz Luhrmann, clearly pays homage to Sunset Boulevard, visually depicting this concept as well.
You shall serve in the guard as my personal attendant.
I would rather lose my head.
That can be arranged too, at some other time.
I had a feeling that you'd realize your mistake and come back to me. Do you want to know a secret?
Sure.
That's why I didn't kill you.
Now moving on, I've explored before how Uttara Phalguni men are often then modern playboys, like the reputation of Leo DiCaprio, and Uttara Phalgunis that preceded him, like Warren Beatty.
He dated all of Hollywood, basically.
Was he an incredible lover? Because he was supposed to be.
Yes, he was. I'm not gonna lie.
Who was linked to over 100 female celebrities, and his friend Jack Nicholson.
I do these Jack Nicholson eyebrows.
I loved all your movies. Oh, really? Do I look like a new girl, bro?
I thought of it.
Both notoriously known for getting whatever women they wanted, and especially for being with beautiful, famous, wealthy women.
Is he still here?
I'll be waiting.
Oh my God!
Mary Fisher is pretty and rich and thin,
and writes best-selling books about love.
If you have the ability to gratify and interest women, if karmically you are endowed with such a power,
would you say you're a typical example of your sex?
I am above average.
innately you can be with a lot of women.
You can't help it.
What?
Fitting in anywhere. Drooling charm.
I never know whether you're insulting me or not.
They find Shakti bestowed on them easily, opening and warming to them, but it depends on how they handle that.
To freedom.
The dark side is for these men to waste their merit and become lost in, expending energy on countless women, but gratifying and cherishing none of them.
Hi, Mr. Heffler.
Kathy, please. Welcome to your party. How about I trade you 2 blondes for a brunette?
Womanizing is a misuse of this Nakshatra's energies that comes from an inability to be discriminate and focused, traits that were learned in Uttara Phalguni, which led to this state, and which needs to be maintained.
Would you stop this? Now, please, Master. Yes. No.
The idea that these men are recognized by power instead of taking it means that careless use of this recognition, such as through womanizing, self-indulgence, and a lack of applying it towards a constructive purpose, is a betrayal of their own gift. On a related side note, in Beautiful Creatures, the Uttara Phalguni character loves the poetry of Charles Bukowski, an Uttara Phalguni native. I quote, one critic has described Bukowski's fiction as a detailed depiction of a certain taboo male fantasy.
This man is a god.
The uninhibited bachelor, antisocial, and utterly free.
Hey, Dad! Guess I just forgot again. Where are you going? Does it matter?
My Sun-Dominant Men video goes more into how Sun men tend to shed anything that holds them back from personal freedom.
You could just call me a tumbleweed blowing in the wind.
Tampoco aguanto tu cortoplacismo enfermizo. Libertad lo llamas. Pero cariño, eso es ser un mediocre.
I mean, relationships don't have a tendency to work out.
While in this video, the focus is more on how they can bring their orientation towards freedom into a romantic partnership. Such as how they're frequently depicted as helping a woman tap into the inner strength to escape from an abusive, controlling, or loveless relationship.
What do you think she wants then?
I know she doesn't want this life.
So she wants to run away?
She can't do that.
Why? She's a free person, right?
There would be consequences.
You are afraid of him, are you? Why don't you just leave?
It's complicated.
It's not up to you to save me, Jack.
Only you can do that.
But back to the Playboy Temptation. The period of the story arc when Aladdin becomes Prince Ali is the exaggerated version of what potentially happens to these men when Shakti floods them with her power. Suddenly, they're surrounded by increased wealth, admiration, and more women. This general plot element, giving into receptive, passive hedonism despite it going against one's principles, is contemplated more deeply in Sunset Boulevard. Unlike the K2 gold diggers that I showed in my last video, who orchestrate their own rise by actively scheming to drain their partner's wealth and choosing a rich but gullible partner accordingly.
What are you doing here?
I was just looking for a sweater. The kind Tom has. It's a cashmere.
It's Vicuna.
Vicuna.
Yep.
Right.
The Uttara Phalguni man is lured into the role.
This is Vicuna. Of course, it's a little more expensive. The camel's hair will do. Well, as long as the lady's paying for it, why not take the Vicuna?
Generously offered abundance rather than seeking it. He doesn't set out to exploit, but finds himself pressured, tested in his ability to maintain a healthy level of independence.
Sé que me has dicho que no me raye por el tema de la pasta, pero tampoco quiero parecer un aprovechado. Así que el primer hotel lo pago yo. ¿Te parece? Es un 5 estrellas.
Que esto lo pagan desde mi empresa, desde mi trabajo, así que no te preocupes.
There are only 3 kinds of relationships in the animal kingdom. The first is commensalism. Then there's mutualism, a relationship where both animals benefit from each other. The tricky thing about animals is you don't always know what kind of relationship you're in, which brings me to relationship number 3, the parasitic.
Welcome home, kid.
Aladdin must remain anchored in his core radiance and masculine integrity, resisting the temptation to take advantage of Shakti's boundless, open, and giving nature towards him.
A present? How many jewels?
38. And the case is solid gold.
Playboy-like behavior is not a sign of mastery, but of losing himself to Maya's whirlpool, becoming passive, adrift in illusion, rather than the steady center around which illusion blissfully swirls. So this behavior is more of a squandering of his innate power that would karmically lead to lacking such bestowed blessings in the future. Uttara Phalguni transitions from the creative and fertile, playful 5th house of Leo to the 6th house, the most material and tangible house in the chart. In the cosmic play, the individual passed the Gandanta to begin utilizing their sexual energy, went into a period of intimate play and sensual connection, and now together, after their union, they have been coaxed into integration with the material plane and fully into participation with the world. This is why Uttara Phalguni, nestled in the 5th house, has a stronger dharmic connection to hedonism and its philosophies, fully tapping into the divine guidance of the senses, indulging them in the most refined art and romance, and only partaking of the best. Uttara Phalguni, after this lesson, must maintain this refinement, indulging its senses only in the best, joining with the most auspicious of women, and then continuing its dharmic path by pulling itself out of the bedroom and utilizing its favorable romantic connection to serve society now in a large-scale way I'll explore more in the next video. While Uttara Phalguni's sexual animal is the bull, its consort nakshatra lying partially opposite is Uttara-Bhadrapada, the cow. Anyone who has seen my video on Uttara-Bhadrapada will have already noticed the strong parallels. It is the Cinderella nakshatra of a female diamond in the rough who rises upward through union as well. There's so much more to say in reflecting on how these stories mirror one another but depict opposing forces on a spiritual level. Prakriti versus Purusha having dominance and initiating the next cosmic phase that I'm going to devote a second Patreon-only video to. These cow Yoni, diamond in the rough, Aladdin, and Cinderella nakshatras are both fixed, ruling class, kshatriya nakshatras, along with Uttarashada, and the point they are conveying through these works is not actually about if one is born wealthy or not, but about the idea of inner nobility versus outer nobility. These 3 nakshatras deeply favor that egalitarian idea that inner quality, not class, determine worth. Actions lead to the fruits one reaps. Uttara-Bhadrapada women in Titanic, Atonement, Tristan and Isolde, Magic Mike, and Dirty Dancing.
Son! Do you have the slightest comprehension what you're doing?
Not really.
Well, you're about to go into the snake pit. What are you planning to wear? I figured. Come on.
As well as some other Trine films I haven't covered.
This is the path you've chosen, is it? After all, here's a blacksmith.
Who are, in these cases, born wealthy or who have already elevated through marrying rich.
So what does she pick? Love or money?
The real question is, why does she feel like she has to choose?
Hell yeah.
Are shown to never judge anyone they meet on class and always look to judging their character instead.
You shine up like a new penny.
I've never known anybody like you. You look at the world and you think you can make it better. Somebody's lost, you find him.
Which means they recognize the goodness in the Uttara Phalguni native when others misjudge him.
I know Johnny didn't take the wallet.
Just as these women love to star in and enact Cinderella stories emphasizing these same ideas. It's similar with women of the other 2 nakshatras, but I won't get into that and how it expresses through them until the next video.
Can we drop the whole hoes versus kooks thing? It is really stupid.
You know, it's easy to say when you're a kook.
As I showed earlier, noble has 2 definitions. One that a person is born to a hereditary class with high social or political status, and 2 that they show fine personal qualities or high moral principles and ideals.
Nobility is not a birthright. It's defined by one's actions.
But we need the nobles.
We need them. Now tell me, what does that mean to be noble? Your title gives you claim to the throne of our country. But men don't follow titles, they follow courage.
There are some who would call him heroic.
Heroism and romantic illusion.
Much like nobility?
Elena, that is.
These 3 nakshatras all emphasize in their own stories that it's imperative both states of nobility align together, that noble souls become rulers for a society to have peace and prosperity.
I am a princess after all, and I'm to be married to a real prince.
Real because he's honorable, or real because he has titles?
Why are there no men left in Islam?
What ails those that come to joust? They are illustrious princes who will provide you with a noble marriage.
A maid betrothed needs more than just nobility to fulfill her dreams. Why do not others come forth, especially those who have proven their ability to win?
Perhaps such men are not of noble birth to aspire to a princess.
Then such men are fools. For a princess knows that nobility does not come by birth.
In stories surrounding all three, whether they are born rich or poor, they find ways to bring more freedom and equality to their people. So in conclusion for today, Uttara Phalguni here displays how a man becomes desirable to feminine beings and through this is blessed by the force of Maya and her immense power. When men cherish and uplift the feminine, exalting the goddess force rather than seeking to subjugate it, they naturally begin to embody Shiva's pure, steady masculinity. The feminine force crowns those who display humility, independence, bravery, detachment, and goodness, recognizing them as a diamond in the rough. Through demonstrating these qualities, through proving he desires freedom for others just as much as he does for himself.
For over 2,000 years I've been in that bottle. Then this hand released me.
Aladdin ultimately earns the devotion of forces far greater than himself. The loyalty of the enslaved genie, the love of the caged princess, and the throne of a kingdom in chains, not as a conqueror but as a liberator. Meanwhile, Jafar, who seeks power without earning it, attempts to seize what can only be bestowed. In doing so, he repulses the very forces he desires. While Jafar is then destroyed by the power he craved,
phenomenal cosmic powers! Come on, you're the genie! I love itty bitty living space.
Aladdin is blessed by the power he released. Ultimately, through this nakshatra, romantic alliances of complementary forces, the noble-hearted street rat with the noble-born princess become a dynamic and balanced coupling for rebellion, liberty, and justice against broader tyranny. While this video explores how power is bestowed, in the next video I'll explore how it's used, how love through Uttara Phalguni becomes a catalyst for collective freedom. Ultimately, Uttara Phalguni asks, what makes someone worthy of power, of Shakti? Rather than power that is craved and seized, these stories reveal that true power is entrusted to and blissfully awakened and stimulated in the steady hands of the worthy, where it flourishes and thrives. The grand, sweeping establishment of freedom on a large scale through Uttara Phalguni's warm and heroic energy comes next in the arc. But before they could access the immense power to liberate all, they first had to pass this more intimate test, one that came in the form of a woman and her trust.
From this day forth, the princess shall marry whoever she deems worthy.
Him! I choose you, Aladdin.
Uttara Phalguni stories elevate the feminine principle, insisting on her absolute autonomy, affirming the divine feminine as the ultimate, natural, and sacred authority on the rightful dispensation of power. These stories assert that she must have the freedom to choose, as it's only she who can bestow true divine honor upon the noble-spirited, the worthy. With freedom to choose, her boundless, nourishing love and its abundant bounty will always flow towards the hero. Okay, so now for what is coming next, and also throughout and after this short outro, I'm going to be showing some examples that I didn't cover in the video, so stick around. In the coming video of this series, I'm going to be especially devoting a lot of time to exploring how these energies manifest through Uttara Phalguni women, which is in many ways the same but also unique and powerful in its own ways. I'll also be sharing more on the men and women of Uttara Phalguni's twin nakshatra, Uttara. If you've watched this point in the video, please look below and see if you've hit like and if you're subscribed to me. I truly give my all to these videos. I put so much thought and love into them for hundreds of hours, and so if you enjoy my videos or benefit from them at all, I appreciate so much if you interact with me in some way. Join my Patreon to gain access to exclusive content updates, polls, and active group chats, or work with me one-on-one in my Female Spiritual Path course. And in fact, if you enjoyed the topics in today's video, such as on Shiva and Shakti and their dynamic, I think you will really love the course. As I mentioned, 2 Patreon exclusive videos are coming, one exploring more esoteric takeaways from contemplating Aladdin versus Cinderella and what cosmic phases they represent, and another deepening my exploration of Uttara Phalguni's fascinating connection to genies. Thank you so much to my Ray Body level patrons listed on the screen now, and a special thanks to my Abhijit level patrons: Ashley De La Cruz, Maddie DRX, Crystal Annette, Nikki, Jazz, Eric Linden, E, Ray, William Rivera, Agnieszka Monica, Aaron Shade, Anna R, Unity, Nexus, Michael Irwin, Haya, Emily Moon, Joanne Schultz, Maya, Carl Wilden, Alex Durin, KM Wyland, Luna, JJJJ, Jake Settlemeyer, Captain Lockjaw, Mujib Faraz, Hannah, T. Chiefin, Stephanie, Raya, Pinky Guman, Bella, Ashley Foster, Eden, Ivana Milanovic, Lola B, Timmy, and Amura. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next time.
Araba hırsızı olan birisi için fazla iyiydin zaten.
Kim hırsız?
Evet. Hırsız. Evet. Tozludere'de yaşıyor aslında.
Tozludere?
He. Şimdi de bizde bahçıvanlık yapıyor.